What's up, guys? Okay, so today I'm gonna give you guys an overview of what Tianeptine's like. Right? And guys, if you're into Tianeptine at all, you're aware of that vendor right there. I just think it's important. There's not many high quality videos out there covering Tianeptine's effects. In fact, as I record this right now, just took 500 milligrams of some solid Tianeptine sodium from, well, you just saw it right there. I'm not going to, say the name of the vendor. I don't feel like I want to give them, any more spotlight. But if you, probably type those 3 letters into Google, it'll probably bring up a result. Although right now, currently, they have a more, harder process of actually getting in to actually order from them now. They're only taking returning customers, so you have to have a username and login. And they, like I said, they only gave it out to people that have ordered from them a few times. Anyway, the effects of Tianeptine. Well, mood boost, obviously. Increase in productivity. Ever since I started taking Tianeptine, I went back to, well, I didn't go back to school, but I obtained my GED. I pushed that shit off for too long, although it's not really, wasn't necessary for me because I'm not out in the job market right now. Right now I am learning to program in lots of different languages, mainly Python. Along with that, it's always been a passion of mine. Mathematics. I'm teaching myself higher level mathematics. Linear algebra, abstract algebra, calculus. All the good areas that you need to build a solid foundation. Mathematics can be applied in a lot of areas that isn't so clear unless you study it for a decent amount of time. With the access to papers online, so lots of different universities, right? And of course, lots of these have paywalls behind them, but the good thing is you can get around them with this site. You probably know what it is. It's Sci-Hub, right? Love that site. High quality research articles. Fucking no paywalls blocking access to education. That shit is, it's sad, really. I mean, people say education is, it should be a right. Well, it's not. $500 for one solid book. Like, what do we fucking pay? Is this capitalistic? Why does education have to become capitalized? It should be free college, free. Well, it should be like, elementary, middle, high school. And what the fuck, all of a sudden you reach a certain level where, this information is too valuable. This information, it crosses a point. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that's why, but that's the reality behind it. There comes to a point where, no, you can't cross that line. This information's too valuable. You'll be able to work at NASA. You'll be able to, code. You'll be able to... All of this information can be obtained, though. But it's just the idea behind the people that perform the work, whether it's in what area. Let's just say I'm getting off track a little bit, but let's just say it's biology, right? With the insurgence of genetic engineering, I don't know anything about it, but let's just take genetic engineering. Not even necessarily genetic engineering. Let's just say you want to look at a line of code, right? Genes, right? And you want to understand what those genes do, right? What they encode, maybe eye color, right? So it's just this specific area of research. You go through the process, you're working in the lab, you have all this equipment, you can extract DNA, you can, view it through different types of electron microscopes, and you obtain this information because you have the credibilities and you have access to the laboratory equipment, and then you pass this information off and you input it into the national database that's out there. That's all available to us. it's really what job you want to get into, really, too. If it's biology, if it's physics, if it's chemistry, you got to go to college. Computer science, mathematics, there's a computer right there. I mean, you can learn this shit from home. I mean, you might be able to pick it up quicker if you have a one-on-one with a person that's an expert on the topic. You might be able to compile, TensorFlow and different, add-ons to Python that can help increase your ability to write decent code that's going to perform functions that are going to help, do whatever you're trying to output, right? With the insurgence of AI, that's getting really particularly interesting. Although I was never a computer science major myself. I was usually just into pure mathematics. Anyone that's studied a little bit of that, up to at least calculus 2, has some insight into the directions it goes, and then it can branch out into with mathematics. The main 2 branches are computer science with algorithms and mathematical formulae that are in different areas of mathematics that are applied to physics. Then of course with quantum physics, the mathematics becomes more computationally intensive when we involve partial differential equations. And of course, through partial differential equations, you have this these different methods. Now, I am at an undergraduate level in my understanding of differential equations. Right now, I'm actually studying abstract algebra more so than partial differential equations or any type of differential equations, second order, third order. It's just morphisms, right? You got homomorphisms, different types of groups. That seems more interesting because it feels like it can be applied into computer science more readily. With calculus and differential equations, that seems like it has applications, just not in computer science. It has more applications to physicists, I should say. Now, I went on a 7-minute rant there. I got off track. This video was supposed to talk about tianeptine. No, well, you can sort of get an idea of what tianeptine does to you. It helps you. I'm not going to say it increases your IQ. I don't think anything can increase your ability to output and take in information and do more insightful or revolutionary things with that information. I will say what it does do though is it helps you clear all the bullshit out. Now, this is probably an addict speaking, right? Remember, whenever you hear someone make these claims, take it with a grain of salt, considering I may be an addict. And if I'm taking 500 milligrams, that is very well possible that I'm just an addict. Although I'm definitely honing my doses down, or honing it down a little bit. I'm trying to get below 500 milligrams. I'm not taking it every day anymore. I'm taking it every other day. So every 48 hours I redose, usually around 500 milligrams. So that's about 4 times a week. I know that's a little bit of a problem. Working on it though. What are the main effects of tianeptine? I think I've already answered this once, but I'm going to go into more detail about the effects of tianeptine sodium now. Onset. Well, okay, if you're taking it by capsule, which I recommend because this shit has an ungodly, terrible, strong, bitter chemical taste. Although, I'm getting used to it already. Usually what I do is I take 350 milligrams in capsules, assess how high I'm going to get. You do get high. And then I take another about 150 milligrams dissolved into water. And it does dissolve in the water. You have to agitate it a little bit. It's not extremely soluble in water, but with a little bit of agitation of the water, it will eventually dissolve into the water. It will stick to the side of whatever container you have it, so you might want a spoon readily available so you can, scrape it along the side, and then if you agitate it, the gooey type formation that falls to the bottom of the water, right? Because this is what it's going to do. It's going to clump up into the water, and it's going to sink to the bottom. If you take a spoon and you scrape it along the side, it eventually will then, I keep saying eventually, it will eventually dissolve into the water. Okay. What would you compare it to? Is it like kratom in any way? No. No, it's nothing like kratom. I'd say it has a quicker, definitely more like a traditional opiate in the sense that when you first start taking it, you will get fairly tired about 3 to 4 hours after you take it. That's how I differentiate between hydrocodone and kratom. The main difference in effects for me is you get very sedated, not even sedated, you get just tired. Drowsy about 4 hours after you take hydrocodone. Same thing here with tianeptine. And I guess that makes sense. I think that's because it's a full mu-opioid agonist. I've done some research. I've pulled up some papers on tianeptine. I'd like to read some more. Lots of it goes over my head, though, especially when you involve the expression of genes and how through different expressions and different types of genomes, or different sequences of genes alter the expression of mu-opioid receptors within the brain. And then because of that, tianeptine can have a slightly different effect on different types of, different humans, right? Because everyone has different expressions of genes, and that can slightly modify your mu-opioid receptor sites. You'd be surprised. Mu-opioid receptors, on the literature I've read up on, it's not completely solidly understood. When I say it's not completely solidly understood, I mean at the level of structural integrity, like how the receptor's built and how it varies. Same thing, of course, the mu-opioid receptors is not as complicated as the GABA receptors. They're even more complicated with all the different, it's a heterodimer and all the different subunits, and whew, I could go on for a while talking about GABA receptors, but mu-opioid receptors are still fairly complicated, especially since it involves, I'm sort of talking a little bit out of my ass, but I don't like to fill in the blanks a little bit here. I don't want to make that statement, in fact, because it seems like it might be inaccurate. I have about I'll say this. It's really helped me take in new information, I think, as well. I feel like I can retain, my memory has improved a little bit. Just my solid memory. I think I'll wake up the next day and I'll be able to not recite things, but I'll just have better intuition behind the mechanisms at play when I'm studying, how tianeptine works in the brain, or, kratom. I took kratom for a while too. I don't know if I told you guys this yet, but you should obviously know because I told you, I gave you the comparison between hydrocodone and kratom. I used it for 14 months. I was a 20 gram per day user of kratom. I never really got into studying how kratom affects the brain, though. In fact, after I end this video, I might do that.